Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are watching us. My name is Tay. I'm the co founder of Flus.com and the co host of today's session, Cryptotalks, that we do every Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. CET. I'm here in the Netherlands, in The Hague. Today we are episode 166, and we have a special guest with us. I want to welcome today Rainlands from one of the rising launch pads in the world called GEMPAD. So happy to have you here with us, Rainlands, today. We decided to bring you here with us simply because of what happened last weekend with the Silicon Valley Bank and the whole commotion on what's the future of the technology in Silicon Valley, what's the future of tech companies, what's the future of funding. And personally, I'm a big believer in the role that tokens, blockchains, and launchpads will play in the future of fundraising. In fact, Flus is doing a fundraising program through tokens and through launchpads. One of them is GEMPAD. So it was a nice opportunity to have Rainlands with us. He's responsible for the AMAs at GEMPAD. We will talk a little bit on what is GEMPAD, why is it important, what's the future of fundraising and tokenization, and of course he will give us some advice on or for the projects that are going through launchpads. So if we have Rainlands, we can bring him on live. Rudy, please. The session will be in English today so that we can as well test and accommodate for our English speakers that usually join from LinkedIn as well.
Perfect. Dave, thank you very much. Hopefully, I'm audible. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. And of course, thank you for the lovely introduction as well. So, yeah, how I would, like to start this off, I would assume that the best bet is, of course, to just, brush upon a little bit of information about myself as well as the team behind Jampad and then give you guys, a little bit of, let's say just the important things because if I am to talk about all of our utilities, we can go for 4 hours, right? So, just to keep it short and sweet, of course, and answer any questions if there might be any as well. So yeah, if that sounds good to you, we can for sure start it off like that.
Let's kick it off. Floor is
Perfect.
yours.
Perfect. Thank you, Tay. Thank you very much. All right. So, once again, hello, everyone. And I am Rainlands, one of the core team members from Jampad. Now, people do tend to know me as, the AMA host because the majority of my work is just focused on me talking and engaging with the community, with project owners if I do host them somewhere. So I am all about the good vibes, right? To provide entertainment, to provide as much education and information as possible, because I do believe that this is something that should be a priority at the end of the day to educate everyone in the space. Because if I am to put myself into the shoes of a person that is just starting out, I remember I found it quite a hassle to get information in one place. I just didn't know which projects were credible, where to invest my funds into, to potentially not lose them, right? So I do believe that everyone in the space, of course, it's nice, to educate yourself, but if you are just starting out, of course, you need a source of news of information to just be informed. And I do believe that just like live streams and AMAs, it is the best way to inform the community and every individual that is taking part in this space. Because again, this is how we help one another, and this is how we provide a safer experience and actually progress somewhere in the space and not be stuck at this time point forever. It is pointless in my opinion. But yeah, all right, if we do carry on with the rest of the team, enough about talking about myself, of course. But yeah, I'm essentially part of the marketing team. So, I do some announcements as well with the AMAs and engagement and whatnot. And the rest of the marketing team is composed of Ron and Pip. And then if we move on to the listing team, so that would be, I like to call our listing team the bread and butter, because they are, in talks with project owners all the time to help them, secure the listing, to arrange how to set up the tokenomics, to see which date for the sale would be most beneficial, just so you can get, the hype out, just so we can advise them to actually fill the sale and that everything goes according to plan and, of course, as smooth as possible, right? So the listing team would be composed of Morty, Tawi, Nile, and Bina. And then if we do take a look at the other departments as well, we have our lead developer. So, the baby, Gempet, obviously someone had to develop it, right? So that would be Red Room, a lead developer. He is absolutely amazing at what he does. So, just go over to Gempet and you see his work, absolutely amazing, all as smooth as possible. And then, of course, we also have our very own in-house designer, and that would be Minx, right? So this is kind of a brief overview of the core team of Gempet and how we kind of divided the roles. But before I do get into everything what we're all about in the utilities, it is at this time frame we had our anniversary just recently, a few weeks ago,
Mm.
of 1 year, of course, when the launchpad was live. It is so interesting to see how much we progressed because we have been working hard every single day ever since, well, not ever since it was live, of course, even prior to it being live, because, of course, you need to get the name out and, find members for the community, of course, hype it up to actually get the name of the product out there, right? We were sure that the product was, great. Of course, we are constantly improving it and trying to adapt to the market, right? So to kind of go with the hype and whatnot. So we are, of course, constantly improving it. But at the start, it was a great idea. We were sure, but it is interesting to see where our roles are at currently, because at the start we were all just, the majority of us were focused on just kind of getting the name out and getting potential listings to kind of kick it off, right? So it is so nice to see that we managed to cover so much ground today with a small team that we have, because we are essentially doing, all of us that is responsible for each sector of Jampad, we are doing something that is really, our ground, right? Something that we
Mm.
love to do. And if someone were to ask me, in general, I was always a talkative person, right? I was always the one that likes to make people smile,
Yeah.
to keep the good vibes. And of course, as you probably noticed, just doesn't stop talking, right? So, but I never
Okay.
did imagine that.
So
Yeah, go ahead. Take it.
so let me interrupt you here. Jempad, for our most of our viewers here on Crypto Talks, they
Mhm.
come from Middle East, North Africa. Um, we have some as well listeners from Europe, from the US, Australia, even. What is Gempad? Like, how can we explain to the newbies, to the new people in crypto, what is Gempad?
All right, perfect. That is a great way to start it off. Let's say so. Thank you very much, Dave. So, Jampad, to try to explain this as as straightforward as possible. So, Jampad is a launch pad that essentially helps project owners to launch their projects and, of course, tokens. Right. So, you can treat this as a platform that will help you to get the name out, to get your product out, to get the token out. So, of course, everything regarding the utilities and tokens, this is tied to our launchpad. Now, of course, we offer a lot of services throughout that. So this would be just the start, so people kind of get the idea behind it. Now,
Mm,
of course, I do believe that all of the launchpads should be, offering a a wide selection of services to even help them, throughout that, because
mm,
it's not just like we did manage to touch upon. Yeah, it's a launchpad to help, launch your
mm.
project and tokens. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is correct. But it's not just that, right? So it's not just so the people, let's say, are gonna say, all right, we would like to launch our token with a launchpad, as opposed to just saying, all right, we're gonna do a let's say your average fair launch before, as it was a thing on launchpads, where they
Mm,
just kind of the let's say deploy their contract, and of course just provide a contract address in, let's say, Telegram main chat. That was usually the way to go, and just say, yeah, all right, people, here you go, it's live, you can start trading. This is
mm,
something that was very, very, it was unfamiliar, for most of the
mm,
people, because it for sure should not be the way to go, because you just don't know which project you can count on, if it's
mm,
truly credible. And this is where I believe, to just kind of start it off, that launch pads are for sure the future of just kind of raising funds in the crypto space, to helping launch their tokens, because project owners can, they can get the best deal for their funds, and of course to take it to the next
yeah.
step, as opposed to just
Yeah.
them throwing money around into something that will provide
Yeah.
no value. Of course,
But
as yeah, go ahead.
true. But why don't I go to a crowdfunding platform like Kickstarter or something in that caliber to launch my project or my token? Why do I need a launch pad for that?
All right. So if we are to take a look at, of course, let's say your standalone crowdfunding platforms that are,
Exactly.
of course, known in the, let's say, in real life as opposed to the crypto space, right? So this is something. This is, of course, just my opinion as opposed to being something. Yes, I do like to treat this as a debate. So my opinion on this is, of course, because crowdfunding platforms. So if we are to take a look at Kickstarter, right? They mainly operate in the sense of let's say users funding with fiat, right? So it is
Mm,
something that is not, it was a great idea, but it was something that could be taken to a even, let's say, level beyond that, right? If you integrate it on the blockchain. So it is why launchpads are, in my opinion, a better way to go is because you practically have no limits. Now, don't get me wrong. Of
mm,
course, in this space, you have to be, safe. Of course, there are very malicious actors in the space, and of course you still need to do some research. But as a launchpad owner, of course you need to keep the community as safe as possible. But if we are to roll
mm,
back to the crowdfunding platforms as opposed to launchpads,
mm.
it just offers a greater variety of things to do, right? Because
Yeah,
you are not just tied to let's say raising fiat. You can actually do whichever token you would like. So
yeah.
of the instance of our launchpad, you are not really tied on which let's say cryptocurrencies you can raise on. So it's just something
Mm,
that offers a greater variety, and at the end of the day, it's something that a lot of people can get into because it's something that is a little bit familiar. And once you get into the
absolutely.
crypto space, it just bridges perfectly into Web3, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the point of being borderless and being to able raise funds from anywhere in the globe at any spot, this is something powerful, and perhaps it resonates for our listeners in Lebanon who have a challenge today when it comes to raising money in general for their startups, for their projects. And I believe with the current financial challenges that they have, there is a big, wide open space in launchpads. But this big wide space will attract bad actors, as you said.
Yeah,
So
100%.
how do you deal with that? How do you cope with bad actors? How do you filter them? Is there like sort of system that you use? A like tell us a little bit more, because we do cover fraud cases a lot in crypto talks,
Yeah,
and
for
I'm
sure.
interested to hear
For
like
sure.
how do you guys deal with fraud in launchpads?
100%. So now, as I did manage to touch upon something, so to keep the community safe at the end of the day is our number one priority. Of course, helping project owners is, of course, up high up there as well. But the community is, of course, the key factor here to just be safe. Because again, just like I managed to touch upon, I like to put myself into the shoes of others, and obviously, I would not be just comfortable in throwing funds into something that could potentially, leads to nowhere, right? So how we approach these things, we have quite a few parameters. Now, I will try to explain this as simple as possible because we do try to take a look at many things just to provide the best experience as possible. Now, not to say that everything is 100%, guaranteed, because we are in this space that we are, but we are doing our best to just minimize the risks. This is something that, of course, we are constantly trying to improve. But so far, I'm going to get into the KYC perspective of things because it's something that we're very proud of because we kind of rearranged it. But I'm going to, be going through it step by step. Now, the first thing that is, let's say, notable are, of course, the tiers that we offer. So for those of you who are not aware of GEMPAD, we offer a variety of tiers, which, of course, are in correlation to what the project owner as from a standpoint of meeting the requirements for them to get listed, right? So we have common, gold, platinum, and diamond tier that you can list. Of course, we also have the alpha standalone, but I'm gonna get into that later on because we're gonna firstly cover just the keeping everyone safe and how to let's say handle malicious cases, right? So for the comments, for comment here, this is a little bit a different case that all of the participants should be aware that it is as degen as it gets, because for comments here it is strictly stated that there is no option of even doing a KYC nor an audit. So again, as degen as it gets. If you want to throw a little bit of money that's just laying around for you, feel free to do so, right? We, of course, all of the projects that come to us, we of course still try to vet them as much as possible. But for common ones, it's just, you have a whole disclaimer and whatnot, because they do tend to be degen, right? Now,
Mhm.
if we do move on to the gold tier, now for gold tier, if you want to list with that as a little bit of a higher one than common tier, and of course you have the option of getting a KYC or an audit badge. Now for this tier, the KYC badge can be done through a third party, right? So you can of course see that if it's KYC or KYC plus badge. And why I'm saying this is because investors, not project owners, investors can quickly see through the tiers on which
Mhm.
project is worthy of investing, and just to be safe at the end of the day, right? So gold tier, is a little bit of a let's say higher up regarding the security. Now, if we move on to the platinum tier, now for platinum tiers, you are absolutely, it's mandatory for you to do the KYC plus process. So that would be the KYC plus best, as opposed to being just KYC that you get from third parties, right? So what I wanted to touch upon is, now I know that in the space, from, I'm gonna say it like this, from other launch pads, I know that the KYC badge perhaps got a little bit of a sour taste in everyone's mouth, because it was not done correctly, right?
Mhm.
It was just a KYC process where you essentially had to do a video, which could be, just pre-recorded. It could be a paid actor, let's say, right? So
Mhm.
anything malicious that they just accepted and didn't do, any research if it is credible and whatnot. And
Yeah,
why I wanted to touch upon this is because for platinum tier and higher, the project owners are required to do the KYC process with our partners over at Assure DeFi. And Assure DeFi, they are very, very credible ever since they took over, because we did have our in-house KYC process before. It was secure, but it's still, better to hand it out to partners that are,
of course.
constantly dealing with this, just to keep the community even safer. And it is to my pleasure to inform you all that for projects that launched on GEMPAD, ever since we got the KYC plus process from Assure DeFi, there has been no scams. For all of
Nice.
them that did KYC plus, again, and it's very detailed. It is harder to pass than others. And it's not just, you're gonna pay this and that
True.
amount of money and you're gonna do it. No, it's detailed, as all
True.
things should be. So yeah, 100% success rate if the project owners did the KYC plus with Assure DeFi. So
Yeah.
this is, one of the things that I wanted to touch upon, that we try to keep them safe. But again, in the case that anything were to go wrong, right, we still need to touch upon this, because I'm not the type of person that just says, yeah, everyone is now secure. No, you still have risk factors, right? And everyone should be educated upon that. Now, in the case of something, fraudulent happening, we have a procedure for that. So we have actually with the start of our launchpad, we actually made a kind of dedicated group for scams, right? So it is called GEMPAD's Court of Justice. So the Court of
Mm.
Justice group is just focused on, let's say, on scams, or on something that the community can brush upon, that they see, I don't know, that there is something wrong with the project, right? That they themselves see something that perhaps someone missed. It is also used for projects that, let's say, we see something that, let's say, a project lists on GEMPAD, and we see that something is wrong, right? Something is, I don't know, missed in the contract, or something is wrong with the socials and whatnot, and we just see it as it being a risk factor. And we actually have a 24-hour buffer. So, as let's say, if a project finalizes and we see some shady activity going on, we can just cancel the sale, right? So we can just take it down. And if we are to cancel the sale, we provide a detailed update on this court of justice that we have, right? Just so the community is aware of the whole process, right? Because let's say if you have any uninformed community members that just wanted to make a quick buck or something, right? They perhaps might be, confused or angry, right? I invested into
Yeah.
this. Why did you take it down? And this is exactly why it's used as well, just so we can, keep them updated, so they see, right? It's not, we know that you guys invested. They get a full refund, right? If we take it down, it's not just that the money is stuck somewhere. They get
Yeah.
a full refund. They can claim the funds that they put into the project, and they also get a pin message. Let's say we have noticed that this and that happened. Something shady is going on here, and it is to the best for your safety that we just take it down, right? So this is
Yeah.
also something that we
Yeah.
like to do, to just inform them and educate them, so nothing goes wrong at the end of the
Yeah.
day, right? To minimize
Yeah.
risk. So
Yeah, I think it's a good advice for new projects that are considering to launch, whether on Gempad or any other launchpad, to really consider doing like proper KYC, working together with the community to verify and validate their presence, their project's presence, and as well other projects. So KYC community is very important in the success of projects for now and for the future. What other piece of advice that we can give to projects that are going on launchpads?
All right, so this is how I want to take this. Is of course I will treat this as if a project owner is looking for well, all of the launch pads, right? So I'm not just gonna do this, a shill for Jampad. No, just kind of an advice what to do if you are just starting out. Let's say you are a developer and you want the best for your project, then you of course take a look at the options that are currently, let's say, available on the market, right? So what I want to say, just because if something is it seems like a good idea, you should still do your research, right? Just because if something looks good on paper, this is exactly for, let's say, the marketing budget. Firstly, I'm going to touch upon that because we are all aware that in this space, unfortunately enough, a lot of call channels or Twitter influencers, whatever, wherever they are unfortunately botted. So this is the first thing. This is not even a launchpad thing, but this is just me kind of giving you guys an example that you need to treat your funds careful. You just need to be careful at the end of the day. You just don't need to be throwing it all around because you would be very disappointed that you get nothing at the end of the day. So you need to do your vetting processes as well. But if we do move on to the actual integration to the launchpad of how you should be careful, of course I would advise you guys to just take a look at the success rate, right? So this is okay. Here I can chill a little bit because it is definitely something to be proud of. So our success rate for projects that were launched with us, 82% of them were filled. 82% could finalize, 82% were then live. 82% of the sales, so this is something that you should definitely see. Just because, I don't know, if you see a launch pad and think, all right, I see some sales listed, let's just list here, the price is this and that, let's just go. No, you should definitely take a look at how it is performing, right? You should take a look at statistics. And if you want our statistics, we are never shy to just share them, right? It is on the launchpad, and we can also provide the number of visitors and not. Now we are not shy. We want to be as transparent as possible with this kind of things, and we want to provide the best experience for project owners, again, as well as investors, right? So you definitely should, firstly, you should take a look at that. Now, another fine factor for my opinion is, of course, just the community, because you need to have a somewhat strong community and people that are supporting the project, and actually have some supporters that are willing to hold something just because it is for the best of your project. Unfortunately, it all depends on the current market that it's at. Thankfully, after the weekend was over, it started to pick up, right? So we're probably all thrilled about that for sure. But it all depends on the market situations, because people tend to get scared, right? So you should, again, be very careful with your funds, and you should definitely, before you even decide upon listing a project, you should talk with the team. You should talk with the owners. You should talk with the listing support, with the marketing team. Everything they have to offer, you should 100% go through the team. That is probably the best advice that I can give to you guys, because we have a bunch of groups. We make new groups. We probably make like 10 groups minimal per day, right? Just so we can it does not mean that if we have 10 groups that it is going to be listings going to be tomorrow or today. No, we just like to provide
Talking. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
just to educate everyone, because we are not
Yeah.
we are people that like to give concrete examples as to why it is a good idea to launch with us, because we want the best for you. We like to give backed up cases why what projects usually performed. Let's say the biggest amount that we managed to raise on the sales. You should definitely, again, if you are looking at our launch pads, again, you are free to do whatever you want. I can't just
Yeah.
stop. And it's
Yeah.
healthy competition at the end of the day. But you
Absolutely.
you should definitely talk to the project owners, to the owners of the launchpad, and to let's say to the team that is responsible for each aspect, because they know what's better for you.
Absolutely.
You can coordinate on, let's say, some announcements, anything that you can get, well, potentially with the package that the launchpad offers. And of course, just it is so nice to see, because our listing team, They are so helpful. They are constantly active and in talks with them. And they even, it is not something that you have to ask.
Mm.
You don't need to even ask, what would you say for the tokenomics? How
Just
would you?
communicate.
Yeah,
Just yeah,
exactly, exactly.
just communicate.
We just offer, the advice. You don't need to even ask. We're gonna just say, if you, I don't know, list the sale on, say, I don't know, our hard cap is 500 BNB, and this would be the starting market cap.
Perfect.
They just go, we would advise you do this. It's, you don't even have to ask. We just want to
Perfect.
provide as much support and assistance as possible. So yeah, just go for the team. That's the best advice
Nice.
I could possibly give to you
Nice.
guys.
Rainlands, we have less than 1 minute left. I have two
All right.
questions for you. One
Yeah, for
word is
sure.
the answer. Summertime is coming. What
Okay.
do you think in one word? Bull or bear? What's the market gonna be?
Oh, don't quote me on this, but I am feeling particularly bullish. So
Yeah,
I would say bullish. I am
bullish.
very much, kind of looking forward to where things pick up in 2023. But like, I'm gonna say it
Yeah,
like this. In January, we, I mean, at the end of the year, we were doing kind of great, but ever since January, we started picking off. And it didn't
awesome.
even matter if there were days, where the market kind of crashed or dipped a little bit. We are just,
Yeah.
constantly evolving and improving. So I am feeling bullish. I
It's
think summer
a
is gonna be
it's a it's
our
a
time.
roller coaster. It's a
Yeah,
roller
it is
coaster.
a roller coaster
My
for sure.
final question for you:
For sure.
pizza or hamburgers?
Pizza, pizza, 100%.
Pizza.
Our
So
community knows by now that I could eat pizza each day. I am a huge, huge
amazing.
pizza fan. I love pizza.
Hopefully, I'll catch you in person on a pizza,
Ah, for
and
sure. That sounds
we
like a plan.
continue this conversation together. Rainlands, thank you so much for coming. Our community as well is thankful for you being here, for introducing GEMPAD and sharing with us some valuable lessons on launch pads, how to launch, and most importantly, how to communicate with the owners of the launch pads, the teams, the investors, because this is what the space is about. It's about communities, open communication, and hopefully we'll catch you another time on Crypto Talks. Thank you so much, Rainlands.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I hope you have an awesome rest of the day as well. It has been a
Thank you.
pleasure. And if you're ever, in search of a particular guy to host, I am always down. So maybe we catch each other in the next episode, right?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a
No
lovely day.
problem. Thank you as well. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye
Cheers.
bye. Cheers. Rudy, we're back to you. Um, hopefully, we can see you in a bit. Bob was asking, can you launch on GenPad, but you are in the Middle East? Yes, of course you can. GEMPAD.APP. You can drop them a message on Telegram as well, and feel free to connect with them. Rudy, we get back to you.
Yeah. Uh, Now we learned something new. So, jumping from Gempad to Rainlands to alerts to crypto to frauds, I just arrived this morning from Dubai. So, it's amazing spirit, amazing vibe. What's happening in the world of blockchain and the bearish stuff of SVB that really affected the whole market. Uh, but meanwhile, uh, stay safe. Watch out from alerts from fraud, because this is the time where fraud actually thrives. If you wanna say so. We had a beautiful run last week with a lot of events, and today is the second day. Actually, today, yeah, is the second day of AIBC. Tomorrow is the last day, so make sure to attend such an amazing event. I got to witness Gary Vee speaking live yesterday. He didn't take a selfie with me, joking. And today we have the also full events on happening on the 16th Crypto V Summit, and next week is the Paris Blockchain Week. So if you are in Paris, make sure to attend. This week, and also I think on the 20th we have World Blockchain Summit, which is happening on Monday. So we have kind of some nice events, two events in Dubai and then one in UAE. Other than that, I'll hand you over the mic again, Tay, so that you can go with the scheduled news.
Yal. Let's start it, Rudy. This episode 166. Before we share our weekly news and what happened from last week till this week, we're trying new ways of presenting crypto talks. That's why we're doing it today in English. Please let us know if you like it, more in Arabic or more in English, so that we can adjust to your preferences. What was important in last week and in episode 166 to know what Glassnode has shared on their latest reports and insights, that the Bitcoin holding distribution has changed from 2021 till 2023. According to Glassnode, we are seeing today more accumulation, more holdings, more distribution on the shrimps side of Bitcoin and the crabs side of Bitcoin. So usually in the crypto market, specifically in Bitcoin, we classify the holders between, according to sea animals usually, starting from the shrimp, which is the wallet or the person that is accumulating under 1 Bitcoin, and we go to the largest, which is the whale or the person accumulating more than 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 Bitcoins. So the distribution today of crabs and shrimps, crabs are between 1 to 10 Bitcoin. So if you have 1 to 10 Bitcoins, you're considered to be a crab, or 1 to 5, if I'm not mistaken. I have to double check that quickly. Just 1 second. Yes, so the one crab is uh, between 1 to 10 Bitcoin. The whale is between 1,000 to 5,000, and the humpbacks are 5,000 and above. So the distribution between shrimps and crabs has extended. So there is more shrimps, more crabs in the market. There is less whales in the market. And this is an important point, because usually it is a misconception in the mainstream media where they say, yeah, Bitcoin holdings are concentrated in a small number of people or a small number of wallets. According to Glassnode, this is no longer the case. We have seen approximately a 10 to 15% increase in the distribution among shrimps and crabs. So this is what I wanted to share from one of the most important insights from Glassnode for this week. In our news, Voyager, which had financial troubles last year, and Binance stepped in to save it and to acquire it and to save as well the crypto community and the crypto holders from the defunct platform. But the SEC and the New York Financial District as well has put a veto or a stop on the acquisition process. They cited many reasons for that, and I want to pick one of the interesting reasons that they are mentioned. The SEC's objection. They cited reports that the US is investigating into Binance.US and the global Binance exchange, uh, of which regulatory actions would be impossible to do if there is a investigation going on. So the plan was actually by Binance.US, so it's the US counterpart of Binance, which according to Binance is a different entity affiliated to Binance, but it runs in a different business operation, different management. But for the SEC and for the New York Financial District, they're not swallowing this. They're saying that the plans by Binance US to acquire the assets of Voyager Digital, which collapsed last year, um, will be stopped, and the size of the transaction is $1 billion. And of course, there's multiple reasons for that, as we said, but the main interesting reason that was mentioned was that Binance, the global entity, and Binance.US is under investigation. From Voyager, we go into India and UAE, where there is a news on collaboration to develop an interoperable central bank digital currency. So this will be the research, the aim, the objective of such a collaboration to test the interoperability of those two central banked digital currencies. Um, it comes as a surprise because lately we were hearing a lot on the central bank digital currency projects between Saudi Arabia and the UAE. But now there is a new player coming in town, which is India. India does not have really a welcoming or an opening arms position on crypto and Bitcoin. But for the concept, for the proof of concept that the pilot will run between those two CBDC bridges, it will focus on two aspects: on trade and on remittances. Remittance is something that is we always hear in the crypto space that yeah, crypto will help remittances, it will make it cheaper, it will make it faster. So now the CBDC is taking a step to test itself or himself or themselves on how this is gonna happen. From Voyager India, we go to the news of the week. Meta abandons its NFT project. So last year, or even it was less than a year, that Meta or Facebook has announced its big investments and big steps into stepping into the metaverse and applying NFTs on Instagram. And there's a lot of features that were rolled, and it was promised to be available summer 2023. But not surprisingly, with the down drop in NFT activities, with the down drop in the sales on NFT marketplaces, it came as a not so surprising action that Meta had to stop its NFT projects, especially across Instagram and Facebook. So, what are they gonna focus on? Payments. So there is Meta Pay now coming into play, and I think Meta will take a more of a payments position in the NFT space and in the crypto space, rather than being a place to mint or a marketplace or any other activity. From Meta, and in the UK, we heard this week that NatWest, one of UK's consumer banks, they have announced a sharp limit on how much their customers can purchase crypto. The reason they're limiting their customers to purchase crypto for £1,000 was that huge scams happened last year in crypto, where in 2022 consumers lost approximately $400 million, or 329 million pounds was lost in the UK to crypto scams, including romance scams and other types of scams, where basically crypto was used to lure people and to take their money. So they are going to limit the purchase of cryptos from NatWest accounts to $1,215 a day, or £1,000 a day. And over the period of 30 days, you can only purchase £5,000. So according to them, this limit is implemented to help protect customers losing life-changing sums of money. This will not only apply to personal accounts, but it will apply to commercial accounts and to business accounts as well. And of course, they're always giving the advice that beyond limiting the amount of payments that you can make, do not send funds to hosted wallets or to shared wallets, and always check the passwords and never share your passwords with someone else. From the UK, and in the general crypto update of the market, we saw how basically Bitcoin dipped under 20K with the frenzy of Silicon Valley Bank shutting down. And in the weekend, USDC lost its peg and went down to $0.88. Even DAI and other uh, algorithmic stable coins have lost their peg for the period of the weekend because they rely as well on USDC on their reserves. USDT came out somehow safe and untouched. We saw a huge rally between Monday morning until today, where Bitcoin crossed the 24,000, 25,000 levels. There was even traders looking at the Bitcoin to reach 26,000, but then it crumbled back to 24,500. Relatively now, things are stable. The announcements from the Fed, the closure of Signature Bank, of Silicon Valley Bank, uh, and Silvergate as well, which was one of the biggest supporters of crypto banking infrastructure, is leaving today those crypto projects to look for other alternatives into on ramping and off ramping. So, this is where we, and me personally and my team at Flus, we believe that the future of such financial activities like on ramping and off ramping in crypto will be with alternative payment methods, whether it's cash, mobile money, credit cards. Diversifying the network of payment providers and the network of services will definitely reduce the risk of crypto depending just on banks for on ramping and off ramping, especially in the West, in the United States, in Europe, and other parts of the world. With this, Rudy, this was our quick recap for this week. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. You enjoyed our session as well with GEMPAD. And if you have questions, we're here to answer them.
Indeed, I just gonna add one slight funny joke. They just sent it to me. This is in front of SVB, Silicon Valley Bank. They put a truck, be your own bank. So I get to be asked too much now. What do we do? You know, crypto is not stable. Stable coins are not stable. Uh, Banking are not stable. So I think today it's a big dilemma of what to do,
Absolutely.
regardless
Absolutely.
of how things are going. We always preached about, well, uh, crypto is there to bring an alternative to banking, which is highly regulated, but yet it's still failing every day.
Yeah.
So, what's the right uh, ultimate measures for financial services? I think this is where the compass is moving today in a way where it is lost, but hopefully towards more of financial freedom, regardless of how the financial freedom it will be in the near future. Was it on crypto or was it in banking? And as per Bill Gates, we don't need banks, we need banking and banking services. So this is where we can get what we need from different perspectives. Uh, Also today, I think Binance just added the stable coin of Cardano, Jed. So that was a good step also. Let's see how and what things will will be in the future. Thank you, Tay. I think it was a very interesting Rainlands Launchpad um, part also, so that you know there are a lot of launchpads that can help you. And then Tay, you answered the Middle East one question that we had. It's a global thing where you today you can launch globally and then later on try to fine tune based on your region. Otherwise, we'll wish you a happy week. See you next week from my side. Thank you, Tay.
Shukran.
See you later.